Hey, everybody. It is a wonderful time again. It's Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast time, the Bundesliga podcast covering everything that there is to know about Eintracht Frankfurt. You know what? We're going to say it. The best damn club in the Bundesliga, the best damn club in the Europa League, the best damn club in Europe. Why? Because lately, it's been waking up and pissing excellence. Garret here in Metro Detroit. Joined as lately always, lately a partner in the shenanigans known as Monday Podcast. John from Delaware. John, how are you today? Condolences to Trevor Lawrence. That was a horrific hit yesterday. Congratulations to your Wolfpack though, in that win.
Hell yeah, that was a fun victory for NC State there. Yeah, the Trevor Lawrence injury, not so good. That was such a dirty hit. Oh my gosh, kind of put a stain on an otherwise good weekend. But honestly, he probably shouldn't have been playing anyway. His shoulder injury, he should have just not been playing. But again, just such a late dirty hit. Glad for the team sticking up for him and fighting after that though.
Wanted to wish also everyone here in the United States that were checking this out. Hope that everyone has had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope it has brought joy and wonders and happiness all there. Although I do know that many of our 50-plus donor friends in Chicago did not feel that with the way Lions Bears ended. The way I see it, it is full circle from the Lions Bears game that happened 2003 when we lost overtime. So, guys, if you're reading this, please don't ban me. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, why don't we talk about what else we had to be thankful for on Thanksgiving Day? And that was Eintracht Frankfurt starting off. We're going to go into Europa, do a Europa, then Bundesliga a little bit, and then kind of recap what everything's looking like there. The Adler had the 3:00 time slot on Thanksgiving afternoon, traveling to Denmark to take FC Midtjylland. Looked like a rainy night, and as I'm getting back into my tablet here to read the starting lineup of that day, match day number 5 in the Europa League, it was a little bit of some rotation that we knew of. Maybe not as much as we were expecting. Hugo Ekitike and Omar Marmoush both up top. Faris Chaibi and Niels Nkuku, looked like your right and left wings. Back 4, Collins, Tuta, Koch, Tea, Mo Dahoud, and Hugo Larsson in the middle of the pitch, and Kevin Trapp. In fact, it is in the start of the match, Eintracht Frankfurt being a little bit comfortable with the ball, but showing how ruthless they can be breaking out. And Marmoush to Larsson in the 7th minute. And they're like, all right, let's roll. A little bit getting into the game, kind of fell flat a little bit to end the half. A couple minutes into the start of the second half, Demonde Collins, unfortunately, is involved with an own goal. But 9 minutes later, as I was turning the car on to go to my aunt and uncle's, I saw a VAR review on the phone. And it was not a VAR review against Eintracht Frankfurt conceding a penalty. It was a penalty awarded to Eintracht Frankfurt. God, talk about being thankful. Omar Marmoush in the 57th minute buried it. John, I'm not going to lie. I didn't really watch too much of the match after on there because I was driving and saw the family. Saw that we kind of pulled that out. So I mentioned my kind of piece on it and recapped the Adler Europa on Thanksgiving night. Why don't I hand it to you to kind of be like, what was your takeaways on the match? And do you feel like that could have been, or if there was any concern on that match, or you feel like that could have been a greater scoreline?
You know, that it was a typical away European match against a decent opponent. I think Eintracht was the better side in the game. Like you said, it was Thanksgiving, so I'm not fully paying attention to everything going on in that game and didn't get a chance to rewatch it. But overall, I mean, it was a difficult game, but one that I think we were the better side in, and we came away with another victory in Europe. You know, tied for top of the table in Europa League now, 18 games unbeaten in the Europa League, which I believe ties or beats the record, something like that. So, yeah, it's been a great run in Europa League so far, minus the Pilsen debacle. But, yeah, good win. You know, no match in Europe is ever easy, especially away. And, yeah, you'll take that all day. I liked the rotation we had, getting Chanuzen into the game later, getting Christensen back out on the field was good to see. So yeah,
former team nonetheless. Against his former team nonetheless.
That's true. He was a youth player there, and that was his first professional club. So,
what I really like right now is we've played 5 matches in this Europa League table right now, and we're tied for. There are 3 teams tied with 13 points, 4 wins and a draw. Eintracht Frankfurt is one of those teams, along with Lazio and Athletic Club Bilbao. The only difference that is putting Frankfurt in third is the goal difference. I think it is almost something to say where I kind of wonder in a way is would we be a perfect 5 for 5 if it wasn't for the Pilsen collapse, or was the Pilsen collapse needed to sharpen our irons the rest of these Europa matches so far, especially when you look at like Slavia Prague coming in and making it a difficult game at the Waldstadion, and I was going to say winning comfortably in Istanbul, and finding a way to get the job done in Denmark because the conditions weren't, I would say it was a little bit of a damp night, midweek game. You gave up a goal early in the start the half, but you responded well. So I agree with that. I think it's a credit to the side. I think it's a side that when this side wants to play and when this side is feeling momentum, nothing stops them.
Yeah.
So there is no Europa League this week for Eintracht Frankfurt. There is Pokal, which we will talk about later on in the show. The next fixture in the Europa League for Eintracht Frankfurt is another away match, this time to Olympique Lyonnais. That is going to be 1 week from this coming Thursday. So that is Thursday, December 12th. That is a 3 p.m. tilt on Paramount. Match day number 6 of the Europa League. I don't know if we can clinch a knockout spot with a win on there, but we got to be pretty damn close to doing that right now.
That would clinch at least top 24, right? Which is all you need to at least move on. I think it'd be pretty hard for us to fall out of top 16 at this point, though.
Right. And even I feel like the top 8 is when you look at there's, 13 points, 10 points, like 10 points is the last couple spots in the 8, and you're playing a team in Lyon that's already got 10 points. Ironically, I'm looking at the table spots of the remaining 2 in Europa League, which is Ferencváros and Roma in January. Ferencváros is at the Waldstadion. Roma is at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome. So, and that is, if I am looking right, the fun thing about Ferencváros is Ferencváros, who are in Hungary, by the way, they're in 11th right now on the table in the Europa League. They are a couple points back of Lyon, 3 wins, 2 losses, 5 goals conceded, 11 goals scored. Ironically, it is Roma right now who are kind of near the bottom of those automatic spots, which would be they'd have to, like Ferencváros, they'd have to play the 2-legged playoff. And that is a win, 3 draws, and a loss, 5 goals scored and 5 conceded. So it's funny how this is looking like so far. Maybe that's kind of catchy. And I look in that when you also talk about Bundesliga teams in the Champions League so far, or even in the Conference League. A team that also had European matchups on Thursday that turned out to be Eintracht Frankfurt's opponent on Sunday was Heidenheim, who had their biggest match hosted ever earlier on Thanksgiving Day, and that was home to Chelsea. We've already talked about the disparities between payrolls and statures in that. Heidenheim, I didn't see any highlights on that. It was Heidenheim 0, Chelsea 2. But it was something that was wanted to see how that matchup went between those two sides going into our Bundesliga tilt. That was what wrapped up this Bundesliga match day 12. Before we get into that, we're going to go briefly around the Bundesliga. We even get to do chrono format for this match day. Let's fucking go. So going around the Bundesliga to start off here as I'm maneuvering my way here in the tablet. St. Pauli, Holstein Kiel opened things up in the derby, in the upper derby, and that was, I don't know the exact name of the derby, so my apologies to any St. Pauli or Holstein Kiel people checking this out. St. Pauli 3, Holstein Kiel 1. St. Pauli's first home win of this campaign.
First home goal, too.
Yeah. It's funny. I think what was it? I saw the stat line that the last time St. Pauli scored a Bundesliga goal was when they lost 1-8 at home to Bayern Munich in the 2010-2011 campaign. Bonkers. Augsburg 1, Bochum 0. Bit of highlights that I saw from this when I reviewed Highlight Show today. Augsburg maybe could have had more. Bochum looked like they had a couple of potential near chances, but nothing mind-blowing. Tim Kleindienst returned to Freiburg, an old club of his. Freiburg did not give a shit. Freiburg 3, Mönchengladbach 1. I'm going to talk about hold off on this one because they're our next opponent in the cup competition. Union Berlin, Bayer Leverkusen. John, you had mentioned this as a matchup to check out. In the 9:30 slot times. I think you were right, and it turned out to be. Bayer Leverkusen scored early via a breakout in Frimpong 2 minutes in. Union Berlin levelized, but Patrick Schick continued his hot form in the 71st minute. Union Berlin 1, Bayer Leverkusen 2. I said something about checking out Werder Bremen Stuttgart for the neutral. That actually turned out to be quite an entertaining game. Honors even 2-2. Erdin Demirovic seems to be comfortable with the Stuttgart injury bug right now, getting both goals in there, which were both times Bremen had a 1-goal lead and Stuttgart had to work our way back. All right, now we got to talk about it. RB Leipzig struggling, but they seem to be okay at home. They usually don't seem to drop anything and don't seem to slip. Rolling out in their fancy kits. They weren't the fan kits, so they're I don't know if they're calling them Christmas kits or not. The fan kits are velvet. The player kits are not velvet. And they also, the velvet carpet, unfortunately, was rolled down by Wolfsburg to go in and or gas-powered diesel emissions on the energy drinks, however you want to call it. Why am I saying all this? RB Leipzig won. VfL Wolfsburg 5. And watching the highlights today, this was not the RB Leipzig that we have known to see. We'll talk about that after we kind of get go through real quick to get your take on everything, John. The last match of Saturday, their Klassiker. A bit of an entertaining fixture, this one. Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich. Borussia Dortmund jumped out to a lead in the 27th minute, being is it Jamie or Jaime Giddings?
It's Jamie. He's English, so Jamie Giddings.
Great little solo breakout run, buries it on the left flank. A few minutes later, Harry Kane left. Forget what exactly.
Injured. I couldn't see exactly what it looks like. Maybe hamstring, something like that. But yeah, he is out for at least their Pokal match. He might be back for the weekend, though.
Thomas Muller comes on there. Looks like a little bit some back and forth. However, Jamal Musiala gets it, which I think, Bayern were due a goal in that match. 1-1, the final at the Waldstadion. Not the Waldstadion. Second time. I keep fucking this stuff up. Borussia Park. That's much. Give me that one. Give me that again, actually, because I keep forgetting it.
It's the Westfalenstadion, or you can just call it Signal Iduna Park if you want to give the corporate name. But
yellow black wall, whatever. I mean, the wall that slips and falls like Nicolas Silla did apparently near on that Musiala goal. Honors even, but we'll talk about how that was actually beneficial. Mainz took on Hoffenheim. Mainz looked 2-0. Burkhardt had a nice goal in that match. I did not watch this match live. I decided to I had a choice. Watch Chelsea Aston Villa or watch Mainz Hoffenheim. I chose Chelsea Aston Villa. And the start of Liverpool Man City before it was the main event time of the Bundesliga. Actually, real quick, before we get into that, what's your takeaways from around the Bundesliga other than that Leipzig holy shit moment?
Yeah, so in that early time slot, I know I said that Union Leverkusen was a match to watch. I dual screened and didn't have that one on. I was watching Freiburg, Mönchengladbach, and then Werder Bremen, Stuttgart. I gotta say that Freiburg, Mönchengladbach match, it was the Ritsu Doan show. The guy was everywhere, offensively, defensively. Just God, what a player. Really happy for Freiburg that they were able to keep him over the summer. And great victory against the Mönchengladbach side that had been playing well. And then for me, Werder Bremen Stuttgart was the game of the weekend in the Bundesliga. just a really entertaining match, 2-2 draw. You know, two great fan bases as well. That was a fun game. I really enjoyed that one.
If for those that are really big fans of Christmas, a great Christmas colored kit matchup. Why do you say that, Garrett? Werder Bremen rolled out in their green and white. Stuttgart had their white tops, but rolled out in red shorts. Very festive. I need to talk about how shocked I am by RB Leipzig Wolfsburg, and especially in the fact that I think we saw small glimpses of what Wolfsburg want to do when Eintracht Frankfurt traveled in September. They looked like it looked so easy to them. Ball movement, playing around, maybe a deflection or two in for the goals, but to go in and do that at a place that normally has struck fear in opponents lately, it's really intriguing to me. And we can talk about this a little bit more as to maybe things to look for ahead of the Pokal matchup. But let's wrap it up with the Heidenheim Frankfurt, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain Time, 8:30 Pacific tilt. That was yesterday, in fact. And we got to see a lot of the Bundesliga lineup that we've come to expect from Eintracht Frankfurt, with maybe a little bit of tweaks. Trap and goal, Christensen back in the starting lineup, Tuta, Koch, Teat, Mario Götze on the right, Elishgiri, Hugo Larsson in the middle, Nathaniel Brown on the left wing, and then Igor Matanovic comes in for Hugo Ekitike, although Ekitike shines bright like a diamond later on, and Omar Marmoush. Omar Marmoush opens things up in the 22nd minute, kind of quick, kind of subtle. First half was really in there. Second half, Faris Chaibi comes on, gets one. Caught me way the fuck off guard. He comes on at halftime for Igor Matanovic. And then the floodgates were open, and there was one path, and it was run the fuck forward. Omar Marmoush makes it 3-0 in the 58th. He could have had a hat trick at least multiple times. And then Nathaniel Brown also. Fatmob's only given him 2 assists. I say bullshit. He had 3. Maybe it's a Chaibi bump. I'm not sure. And then later on, we got to see some rotation. I feel like, though, there's some screw-ups. Yeah, Collins comes in for Tuta. Knopf comes in for Götze. Ekitike comes in for Nene Brown. Oscar Højlund makes his return. Comes in for Hugo Larsson. Oscar Højlund almost gets on the score sheet real quick. And 94th minute to wrap things off. Ansgar Knopf on the right. Literally just an inch-perfect ball. Hugo Ekitike was just like, all he had to do was just give it a little tappy tap, 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 tap-a-roo. Did that. Those that don't understand, go watch Happy Gilmore. Yeah, it's almost 30 years old. I don't give a fuck. 4-0. You and I both predicted 4 goals in this match.
3-1s.
Yeah, but not
all for us. No,
not all for us. Well, holy shit, dude.
That was a hell of a game. I mean, I know that Marmoush had those 2 goals and had a few other chances, but for me, Nathaniel Brown, easily the player of the game in that one. Just his tireless work, his passing was incredible. His ability to draw fouls was great as well. The guy, he's been a revelation, honestly, ever since. I don't know what he did to get out of Dino's doghouse, but holy crap, he's been good. They were talking on the broadcast about it, how he's not on the European roster right now. That will change in January, I am sure, and I could definitely see him featuring in the league phase matches after we return to that. Yeah, honestly, the only player I thought who had a bad game for us was Matanovic. He wasn't strong on the ball. Really made some poor passes. I don't know why it was such a tough game for him. I know he's not gotten the minutes this year, but that's not going to do him any favors, unfortunately. And then you saw Chaibi came on for him. Chaibi's first touch was to win a ball back. It ended up creating a free kick, and then like 2 minutes later, gets the ball and scores. Great to see him finally having a good performance again. He's been a little down in the rough this year overall, but I think this game was a good game for him to get back on track.
I'm looking at a couple stat lines here. 54% possession. I read the stat line that was the worst defeat Heidenheim was suffered at home in their 2 years up in the top flight, which blows my mind, and it was us doing it. 2.65 expected goals, 8 shots on target, 4 only off target, 2 blocked. 10 of our shots were inside the box. 430 passes, 35. Passes in the opposition half. 230 of our 430 completed passes were in the opposition half.
We were eating their defense alive. It was something else. I mean, not only just Brown to Marmouche and everything that Marmouche was doing. I thought Gutsa played a really great game in the opponent half. Ekatike, when he came on, that pass to find Højlund. Holy shit. The nutmeg. Yeah. And Højlund probably should have scored on that one, but
first match back in a while. I mean, it's sharpening the irons.
And it's not exactly like he's a striker. He's a defensive midfielder for sure. So
I felt like Scary looked a little bit sharper. Probably wishes he would have gotten that goal. Had it looked like one that looked like it was going to go one in, but looked like it got stuck on the side netting. I think honestly for me, what blows your mind more right now? Because it's I'm about to drop some fucked up stat time knowledge here, or fucked up stat question. What's more fucked up, that we have 30 goals scored in 12 league matches for the first time since 1993-94, or the fact that we have had now consecutive clean sheets in league play and 25% of our league matches have been clean sheets?
I'll give you a third, and that is Omar Marmouche now with 13 goals in 12 games, a record no Frankfurt player has ever had. But I will go with the clean sheets. Clean sheets in a row is just not something that we do very often. So, yeah, there have been some games where we've let in some goals, but you know what? The defense is coming together a bit. I think we're still leaky at times. I know I think it was like the 10th minute or so when Kaufman got their one shot on goal. Just complete defensive breakdown for him. Thankfully, Trapp was there to make a good save. But other than that, just resolute defending that game.
I think you also saw the near moment where Trapp did not make any movement, and there was the ball that hit crossbar.
That's a good deflection off of Skiri, which is why I think Trapp got stood still. Thankfully, that went off the crossbar. But
judging by what you saw of Heidenheim, they've been in a little bit of a funk lately on there. Do you see them like sharpening it out in the Bundesliga, or do you think this is the continuation of a very dangerously slippery slope for them?
I'm not sure. I watched their game against Chelsea, and obviously they don't really have the depth to rotate, so it was mostly the same team in both games. And I thought that they played actually a pretty decent game against Chelsea. I know they lost 2-0, and that just comes down to the quality. Chelsea is far and away the best team in the Conference League. It's not even close, and
they're clicking. They're clicking in the Premier League now, and Enzo Maresca seems to be. Let's see how long this actually turns out to be. But the guys are clicking under them, and I watched their league match against Aston Villa, and they looked even. I don't know how. I didn't watch the Heidenheim game, but they 3-0 Villa at home. So that tells you, like, I think they're finding their groove on a lot of levels.
Yeah, I mean, look. Other than them, I mean, the only people who I think possibly could contend in that Conference League are maybe Fiorentina, maybe Heidenheim, so I think they'll roll in that. But Heidenheim's overall playing very well in the Conference League, and they're in a really good position to get a top 8 spot and move on. And unfortunately for them, it's going to stretch their roster even more. And we've seen their Bundesliga form. It's really, really poor right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to continue. Obviously, they're out of the Pokal, and because Conference League is only 6 games, not 8, that helps them a little bit, and I think they'll get the points to not be in one of the relegation spots. I definitely don't think they're dropping past 16th at the worst. But we'll see. I think it's definitely a possibility that they could end up in that 16th spot. I think they'll be good enough to be ahead of St. Pauli by the end, but it's not been a good run of form here for them recently.
3 matches to go in the Bundesliga for them before the new year. Bayern away this weekend. Stuttgart at home, Bochum away, in between Basaksehir here and away, and St. Gallen in the Conference League. You mentioned it, they're right now in the 16th spot. They're in that promotion relegation spot after 12 matches. VfL Bochum, rock bottom, 2 points. Yeah, I mean, they need a lot more than a miracle right now. 10 goals scored, 33 allowed, 2 points. 3 points ahead of them in 17th is Holstein Kiel. I know Brian, our fearless leader, has mentioned that Kiel in the wintertime can be where this team can get a lot of their points at home. Let's see if that actually starts to really take into that. Heidenheim does have a 5-point gap from the automatic 2 relegation spots, and I think winning the first 2 matches in the year helped with that. Or did they win the first 3? Was it the first 3?
Yeah, I think it was because they were first for a second there.
Yeah, it was the first 2 in Bundesliga play.
Yeah, the first 2.
So unfortunately, when they've won 1-8 in their last 10 in the Bundesliga, that's some dangerous form. St. Pauli starting to get another little bit of a rhythm and being comfortable in the Bundesliga. They're in 15th. Eintracht Frankfurt won't have to deal with them for the first time until the beginning of the new year. Hoffenheim, 14th, 12 points in 12 matches. Bills there, I think you mentioned, will be a good fit for them, but I think right now it's just getting comfortable. And can they afford to be comfortable, or is getting comfortable going to come at a cost? Augsburg with a little bit of a gap. 3 points clear Hoffenheim in 13th with 15th. Werder Bremen a point ahead of them in 12th. Tied with Werder Bremen is Union Berlin at 11th. Still only 11 goals allowed in 12 games, which is kind of impressive. They're just struggling to score. They've only scored 10, and they've scored 10 and 12. Borussia Mönchengladbach after that lost to Freiburger in 10th with 17 points. Also on 17 points is VfB Stuttgart, who 23 goals scored, but they've allowed 21. So the defense might be what affects them in the table. Wolfsburg are up to 8th now after that 5-1 win. We were writing them off a couple of weeks ago. They've told us to fuck off. Noted. Freiburg. Oh, actually, no. Mainz.
Yeah.
Mainz are in 7th. 20 goals scored in 12 games. Allowed only 14. They've won 5 already in their 12 games. Bo Henriksen seems to be doing a well job. Will they be on the rhythm when they play us a couple match days from now, or can we win for old time's sake? Let's see on that. Freiburg are in 6th after their win. One thing to note about Freiburg: they've played 12, they've scored 16, but they've also allowed 16. They've had a couple of bad beatings this year, but when they're on, they're on. So let's see what team shows up more. Borussia Dortmund with the draw are in 5th at 20 points. 1 point ahead of them, RB Leipzig. That precious goal defense record, 9 goals. They came into these last first 10 match days. They've allowed 5 goals. They've allowed 9 in the last 2 match days. 4 of them at Hoffenheim, 5 at Wolfsburg. Something's up. Hopefully it continues Wednesday. We'll explain why. Bayer Leverkusen starting to also get going rhythmly. They still have only lost the 1. They are in 3rd place with 23 points. 2nd place with a 3-point gap. What? Eintracht Frankfurt, 26 points after 12 matches, 8 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, 31 goals scored. Okay, we've allowed 16, but we haven't allowed any in the last 2 matches. So shut up. And then, lastly, Bayern Munich, 9 wins, 3 draws, 30 points, 4-point gap on Eintracht Frankfurt, 37 scored, 8 allowed. But, John, you've mentioned it. They seem to be dealing with some knocks. Alphonso Davies had a little bit of an issue in Munich with his Lamborghini, and maybe a bev too many, although he took one in the nether regions near the end of Dortmund on there. So we'll talk about what's going on in the Pokal with everybody. But first, another reason to be thankful, hashtag what are we drinking? I know you mentioned you were enjoying Thanksgiving, but what do you got this evening?
Right now, I'm drinking a Breckenridge Reserve Blend bourbon. One of my brothers, he's the bourbon drinker, but I figured might as well steal a glass for the night. Yeah, only 86 proof, so nothing too ridiculous. So yeah, pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
That boy. John got to one up because his Canucks have been on a roll over my Red Wings, and unfortunately, Ville Husso came in goal, which he did better than I anticipated. But we lost 5-4 in overtime. So, it's late at night, so it's cold now in Michigan. There's been snow sort of on the ground. It's been below freezing. This has come quicker than I have anticipated. Black tea it is right now. But, obviously over the weekend. So I need to give a shout out to my uncle, because my uncle been a craft brewer for years and years and years. Even when I was a kid, he was craft brewing. So I asked him when I got, I had Thanksgiving dinner there, and I'm like, what you got on tap? So he had this Belgian mango Vit beer. That was one option. And then the second one was any New England IPA. And I was like, what's the ABV on the New England IPA? He said 6%. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Because I'm not one for like the earth shatterers, like the earth shattering ABVs. A winter warmer, I'll do that. But I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, wait, the cranberries are homemade. Let's do the New England IPA. New England IPA, folks, with a Thanksgiving dinner is a hell of a combination. So take note for that for anyone that does their feasts. So with John's Breckenridge, a cup of black tea, and whatever anyone else had this Thanksgiving, and everyone, we hope that this holiday that was spent with those near and dear, and plenty of joyous moments apart from Eintracht Frankfurt. So with that, we wish continued good health, and we say Prost. And now with that out of the way, let's talk about what we have coming up. It is the most wonderful time of the year, not just because it's December on that, but it's Pokal time is back.
Hell yeah.
I feel like if Nathan ever crushes it with graphics and Pokal, that would be dope. Like a house beat to Pokal music. Because at the end of the day, for Eintracht Frankfurt, our goal is one thing: Berlin, wir fahren nach Berlin. We are in the round of the 16 when it comes to the DFB Pokal, and Wednesday, the 4th of December, 2:45 p.m. Eastern, 1:45 Central, 12:45 Mountain. Pacific folk, you get to go have an early lunch. Eintracht Frankfurt travels to RB Leipzig. When this fixture was announced, we were like, shit. Now, maybe? Yeah. So, how are you feeling now about this one?
Well, a lot better than I was when it was announced, like you said. The reports, obviously, over the weekend after little lawn ball sport lost another terrible match, were that Marco Rose was still going to stay on for this match. So it's pretty much save his job time. We'll see how the players respond, if they're up for him or not, or if they mail it in and want a new coach. Their defense has been really porous recently. They obviously started the year, that was their strength, and it has completely gone. They still have a lot of talent up front, but it's not really clicking. So I don't know. I think this is a really good opportunity for Eintracht. Obviously, we need to exact some revenge for the final a couple of years ago, and I think that we can do it this week. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout. I don't think we're scoring 5 goals or 4 goals like they've allowed the past couple of weeks. But I think there's a real opportunity to score some goals in this one.
I'm looking at the injured list right now. Eintracht Frankfurt are fortunate to only have Amenda with a ligament injury out through middle February. Here's what I'm looking at for RB Leipzig. Lukiba, hamstring injury, late December return. Raum, ligament injury, mid-December return. Bichiabu, muscle injury, mid-December. Elmas, hamstring injury, mid-January 2025. Udarago, hamstring injury, early February 2025. Klosterman, thigh injury, late December. Xavi Simons, ankle injury, mid-December. Yusuf Poulsen, thigh injury, mid-January. This team is ravaged right now. So is there ever a time, now there's going to be multiple times that Eintracht Frankfurt get to travel to Leipzig in this month. These may be the two best times in a long time to be able to go in and play this, because who knows when they're going to be this banged up again.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at that injury report, I know obviously Siemens, Poulsen are great attacking players for them, but Costello Luquebo has been one of their best players defensively this season. David Raum, Lucas Klosterman, obviously he's been there forever. Defensive players that can also act as leaders on the field that they are completely missing right now. And I think that's what's really taking a toll on them in their ability to stop the goals from going in. But yeah.
Not only stop the goals from coming in, but being able to have voices in the locker room that provide a sense of calm when this chaos has happened. I think you can tell that something happened when they blew that lead at Dortmund in the beginning of November, because they were rolling and they could have really cut the gap on Bayern even too, but Dortmund came back and won that, and they haven't been the same since. So what are you thinking prediction-wise for this one?
I'll go with 3-2 Eintracht victory. I think yeah, I don't know. I think RBL is in such a tough position. I'm not sure they can pull it out in this one. We'll see about the matchup against them in league in 2 weekends. That one might be a little different story, but I think in this one we should be able to come away with the victory. And quite frankly, I'd rather win this one anyway. The Pokal is the best competition, so I want to go far.
I tell people, I was having a discussion with people about how much in the U.S. here I was loving the NBA Cup. And the reason why I'm saying that is, as you and I are big football, soccer guys, whatever you want to call it, we are at our most absolute sicko at cup competition, and part of that is because of the DFB Pokal. For me, I've had a privilege of being at a DFB Pokal match of Eintracht Frankfurt hosting RB Leipzig. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like a Pokal match. The closest thing maybe in that for Frankfurt I haven't done is a European match day. But there's something about a DFB Pokal match that everything's amplified. And it is, if you want to know how big of a deal it is in Germany, it's on public television for the most part. And this is back when I was there in 2020. I think it's going to be a battle. I really do. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go 2-3. I'm going to go RB Leipzig 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 2. Maybe a little bit of contested crowd. As you were mentioning, maybe a little bit cagey. It's a cup competition, midweek matchup, maybe some rotation. I don't know who gets it for Leipzig, but I'm going to say I'm going to go Hugo Ekitike for 1. And who gets the second? Who are you? Who are your 3?
I hadn't said them yet, but I was also going to go with Ekitike. Okay. Obviously, got to go Omar Marmoush. His form is just incredible. And then I think Abembe features in this game because he hasn't featured in the past 2. I think it's time for him to get back on the field. And I think that he can grab a goal as well.
So I said Ekitike, Hugo Larson. I think this is a good matchup for him. Good matchup for him in late runs, set piece type thing, or that Ekitike moment where he just feeds it, knowing that it's probably going to be Arthur Tea because he's due for 1 and he's gonna Oh wait, no, he's not. He's out till he's got 2 match. He's a 2 match day back. Right. So That would mean Nene Brown at left back then, as opposed to left wing? Or are you putting Nkunku in?
I feel like you got to play Brown. I know Nkunku played. Well, he played like that left mid in or no, he did play left back. Whatever, he played in the Europa League matchup. I didn't think he looked great in that match, so I think he played Brown in this one, and maybe have one of Bembe or Knauf as like the left mid. So yeah, and with the form that Brown's on, I don't see how you don't play him, especially rotating him a little bit. He got some rest near the end of the game.
I would definitely go. I would love go Collins Brown, and just bomb up the flanks, both sides. Use that pace. I think you can wear them out. But I don't. Now, maybe it gets closer to your prediction. I think it all depends on how the match starts off. I think if they get the attack going, then hey, they could potentially get in there. I just know that when Mönchengladbach happened, I saw how good we were with 10 men, but it took a little bit. Mm-hmm. The Teat Red definitely caught some people off guard, caught the team off guard. So that is for their rest of the matchups taking place in the Pokal. There's 4 taking place tomorrow, Tuesday, December 3rd. Arminia Bielefeld hosts Freiburg at noon. Also in the U, Jan Regensburg taking on VfB Stuttgart. 2 matches at 2:45. Werder Bremen, Darmstadt. Werder, put 5 on them, please. And then Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen. Somebody's got to go.
Yeah, I'm thinking Leverkusen might take that one. Harry Kane will be out. Leverkusen's clicking. I don't know. I mean, look, I'll be happy to see either one of them go, so I don't really care. But I think that Leverkusen should win that one.
Wednesday, December 4th, 2 at noon. FC Köln, Hertha Berlin. Battle of the Bundesliga teams. I know who 50+ donors going for.
That's who I'll go for too. I said that's who I'm going for too in that one.
Yeah, I'll root for Köln on that one. I ain't going 10-0 though. I ain't gonna do that. Wolfsburg Hoffenheim noon. I'm not touching this one. Karlsruhe
should take care of business. I think.
You think
they're clicking. And let's be real. That first game for Hoffenheim under Ilzer was against a battered Leipzig side, and then we saw them lose 2-0 to Mainz and really not be in the game for the most part in that one. So yeah, I think with Wolfsburg's form, they'll be able to take care of Hoffenheim.
Karlsruhe hosting Augsburg at 2:45. That might be a trick. That'll be a fun, passionate atmosphere. Augsburg need to be on their game that they've been doing lately, or else we might have a little bit of an upset. What of the lower league teams hosting matchups do you feel? Who do you feel is more likely to take something? Arminia Bielefeld hosting Freiburg, Jan Regensburg hosting Stuttgart, or Karlsruhe hosting Augsburg?
Well, Bielefeld's in the 3rd tier, not doing so hot. Jan Regensburg is having one of the worst ever Zweite Liga seasons. So, I don't think either of them are taking anything from those matchups. I think it's a very real possibility for Karlsruhe to take this game against Augsburg. They're in a promotion battle in the Zweite. Budu Zivzivadze is looking absolutely insane for them. I think it's a real possibility for them. Augsburg are not a bad side at all, I think, and they can be stifling defensively. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think that Karlsruhe is going to need to take the game to them, and I think they can do it.
So that Karlsruhe, Augsburg's one of the 2:45s along there, be Leipzig, Eintracht, Frankfurt. So that is going to complete the round of 16. My guess is quarterfinal announcements would take place during the weekend, but we will only look forward to the quarterfinals if the job gets done on Wednesday. So with that said, the next stage in the chrono format is Bundesliga play for Eintracht Frankfurt. That they have. So let's go into it. Friday, 2:30 p.m. VfB Stuttgart hosting Union Berlin. Bayer Leverkusen St. Pauli at 9:30. Bayern Munich hosting Heidenheim at 9:30. Bochum, Werder Bremen at 9:30. We're in the 9:30 spot. We're saving ours for last. Also at 9:30, Holstein Kiel versus RB Leipzig. So that theory of Kiel and cold weather, and also what is this RB Leipzig team going to be in mood-wise, form-wise, everything. Saturday morning, 12:30 p.m. Battle of the Borussia as Mönchengladbach take on Dortmund in Borussia Park. Come on, fools. Come on, Kleindienst. Sunday, 2 matchups. Wolfsburg, Mainz, 9:30. Hoffenheim, Freiburg, 11:30. Of those 8 that we had talked about before we get into ours, what's one that's striking you?
I mean, as a 50-plus donor always says, always watch Friday games, and I think this one's going to be a good one, Stuttgart versus Union Berlin. And then the other one that strikes me is the Topspiel, Mönchengladbach versus Dortmund. I think could be a very interesting game. Dortmund's home form versus their away form is quite different. And, we've seen how Mönchengladbach's been playing recently. Obviously dropped this weekend, but overall kind of flying. I don't know. And then as much as I don't really want to watch the game on Sunday morning, I think Wolfsburg-Mainz, with the form that those teams are in, could be a really good matchup.
Yeah, I think that one could be really entertaining. I think it could be a bit more open than one could expect Wolfsburg and Mainz to take on. So I think that will definitely be something that's really, really interesting. A recommendation that I'm going to go outside of the Bundesliga, and I would never usually want to do this. My dear former Eintracht Frankfurt manager Oliver Glasner and my English love Crystal Palace are taking on a Manchester City side that has been straight up garbage lately. I'm knocking on this is there. Palace withdraws in their last 2, take on John's favorite Prem side in Ipswich tomorrow, right? I believe in a battle for the bottom things. There might be an upset there, so that is also unfortunately around the same time frame. So I'm going to have to double watch on Saturday as our 9:30 a.m. tilt at the Waldstadion. Augsburg come to Eintracht Frankfurt. I think it is definitely going to. Both teams are going to be tired from that Pokal. If anything, I do like that both teams are in the same time slot of the Pokal. It means there's no competitive disadvantages being issued or raised up by either side on here. Augsburg with
travel, so neither one gets. I said we both have to travel as well, so I like that. There's no real advantage here for either of them, travel wise, time wise.
Augsburg seemed to have also a little bit of an injury bug. Gummy with a groin injury, Oxford with COVID-19, Pedersen with a groin injury, although that one seems to be a few days or so. Jensen with a groin injury, and Giannalis with a groin injury. So Augsburg coming into this match in the Bundesliga, 14 scored in 12. They've allowed 23, but a lot of those goals conceded earlier in the year. Their last 5, they allowed 3 to Bayern Munich, but other than that, 1-0 win recently at home to Bochum, as we mentioned, 0-0 draw versus Hoffenheim, 1-1 at Augsburg, beat Schalke in the Pokal, and then the 2-1 win at home to Dortmund at the end of October. But they've allowed goals on the road. When I'm looking here, they've allowed 4 to Leipzig at the end of September, 3 at Freiburg in the middle of October, 3 at Bayern last Friday. So is this fortune favors the Adler here, John, or do you think that this is all like we need to see how we do Wednesday before we can really have an idea on what Saturday is going to bring?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Wednesday is going to have a huge say in how this match goes, both in terms of lineups, whether we have to go to extra time or not. I'm really hoping we don't, but I could definitely see it happening against Rasenballsport. Although, to be fair, Augsburg could easily go to extra time against Karlsruhe as well. Like you mentioned, they haven't allowed a lot of goals recently, but the goals they have allowed have been on the road. We get lucky in that regard. It's really our only home match for a while. I think we should come away with a victory here, but I don't expect to pour on the goals against that Augsburg side. I think they're good enough defensively that we're not beating them 4-0 like we just did to Heidenheim. I think that we win this game 1-0. I hate picking a clean sheet. Screw that. 2-1.
was about to say, you don't want to break the stick. You don't want to break the chain here. Chris might.
I can't do that.
I am going to say 2-1 in this one also. I know the last matchup between the two sides of the Waldstadion, Augsburg took the lead early. Frankfurt scored 3 unanswered. But I think it's going to be a closer battle. I think it's going to be a matchup that you might see Eintracht Frankfurt take a little bit to get into. And I think that could be part of how Augsburg sets up. Jens Storup, it's a structured side. There's movement and everything like that, but it can be a tight side. It's when you break them out and spread them out, possession-wise and intent-wise, that you can get goals in them. So this is where the pace is going to need to come in. Whether it's Marmush, whether it's Brown, whether it's Knopf, whoever they put in the run, you want to run at them. And I think that will be the advantage. Goal scorers for me here, since it's a Bundesliga game, I am going to go Omar Marmush here. And then I am also going to I'll go Mario Götze. I feel like he's been enjoying home lately. What about you?
Yeah, I like the Götze pick, and I think he'll definitely play in that game. Seems like a good game for him. Yeah, I've obviously got to be Marmush for one. He's just on an absolute tear right now. And then for the other one, I'll go Ansgar Knauf. I think he'll feature in that game, and I don't know. I like the way he's playing recently.
Yeah, he's been creating the squad seems to be comfortable, especially the people that have been coming in and out. Ansgar Knauf, Dina Mbembe, Nathaniel Brown, they seem to be not only being comfortable, knowing they got a role signing into it. And I think Ansgar Knauf's definitely flourishing in that. I'm enjoying him on the right flank a lot more than I definitely did prior to this season. And I think part of that has to do with the way we play in that 4-4-2, which can evolve at any given moment. So it's a good pick. I think he could be definitely one to have and make an impact on there. We'll see. That is 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. So job done. Get the job done Wednesday, and then go for it on Saturday. Do not look ahead. It's Pokal season, baby. The Frauen, who just finished their Pokal match last week in their win against Union Berlin, they are going to be back. It was international duty this past weekend and the start of this week, but the Frauen Bundesliga resumes this weekend, and we are going to go into the fixture list. So Friday opens up with Bayer Leverkusen hosting Wolfsburg at 12:30 in the battle of Aspirin versus Car. 6 a.m. Turbine Potsdam FC Köln. Our friends at Donor, you have a chance to score maybe not 10, but you could score maybe half that. So here's to you.
To be fair, that's really the battle of the completely movable object versus the absolutely no force. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I think Cologne can get a goal and win that game though.
You might get the ban before I do. 8 a.m. SKSS and hosting Bayern Munich. Essen? Come on. You can think of it like you're playing. Think like you're playing us. Come on, man.
Yeah, Essen. Although Essen did lose in the Pokal to Gladbach, that was a little bit of a surprise. So hopefully they take some motivation from that loss and take the game to Bayern.
Sunday's got 2 fixtures, 8 a.m. Werder Bremen hosting Freiburg. I think it's going to be a fun matchup. Did be the one on TV over 12:30, right? FC Karlsruhe Jena versus Hoffenheim.
Yeah, I'm hoping that 8 a.m. is the one that's shown.
On the zone. We do know what will be on the zone Monday, December 9th, noon kickoff. Eintracht Frankfurt hosting RB Leipzig. If there's an RB Leipzig side that will be like, all right, you cool, you all right, it's the Frauen RB Leipzig side. RB Leipzig, who are 7th in the table in the Frauen Bundesliga after 10 matches played, 5 goals, 1 draw, 4 losses, 15 scored, 18 allowed. Their last few matches played, 1-0 loss in league play hosting Bayern Leverkusen, 0-0 draw to Essen the match day before that, 3-1 win versus Hoffenheim, a 4-1 loss at Freiburg, and then 2-0 win at against Carl Jena. That was after getting pumped 5-0 versus Wolfsburg. Thing that I'm seeing in particular about these RB Leipzig, some of these bad RB Leipzig results, is these goals that they concede on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Bayern 6-2 to open the season. Wolfsburg 5. Freiburg 4. Yes, they've beaten Turbine Potsdam at home on the road. I mean, but everybody's beating Turbine Potsdam for the most part, unless you're Carl Jena. I think, yeah. And what I'm getting at here is this is another opportunity for the Frauen to keep the foot on the gas and make the top half of the table an interesting one, a difficult one, not just for Bayern Munich, who are tied on points with the Eintracht Frankfurt, and Bayer Leverkusen, who are also level, but VfL Wolfsburg, who are currently 2 ahead. But the caveat is VfL Wolfsburg's only loss of the year was 3-0 at Eintracht Frankfurt earlier in the year. So, Monday at noon, anything interesting developments with the Frauen in this international break that we have or are we going to be pretty much ready to go close to full strength?
I haven't seen. Geraldine Reuteler actually did go off injured in the first match for Switzerland over the international break. Actually, it might have been in training before it. So she did not play their second match. I don't know what the extent of that injury is. Hopefully she's ready to go for Monday. If not, I think we have the players to plug in place, even though she's been absolutely incredible for us. So, yeah, that's really the only big development there. And then I guess the other thing is Laura Freigang scoring, I think, 3 goals over the international break for Germany. So she's just continuing a red-hot form for club and country.
So when the dust settles, when the clock hits around 2 o'clock or just 2 o'clock Eastern or just after that on Monday, this December 9th, what do you see the scoreline being? Who gets them?
I know that Leipzig may not have the greatest goal record this year, but I'm still kind of afraid of their attack. Fudala and Hoffman look very good, so I think that they'll get at least 1 goal, but I think we can score 3 in this one. I say Freigang gets a brace, and Barbara Dunst gets the 3rd.
Laura Freigang, 10 goals in Frauen Bundesliga play, 10 matches in. Anyomi with 5. Geraldine Reuteler's got 5 goals in Frauen Bundesliga play. That is insane that we are saying that in a great way. Yes, Eintracht Frankfurt have the best defensive record in Frauen Bundesliga. They've allowed 5 goals. I don't care. I am not picking a clean sheet in this one. I will pick 3-1. Like John did in favor of the Frauen. And I do think that, yes, Freigang gets 1 because he's got to maintain the goal match. If Geraldine Reuteler can't go, Nicola Anyomi will be 1 to bag 1. And then I am going to go, we're going to win a penalty, and Sarah Dorson gets her 4th goal of this season. Because she's crushing it in pens this year.
She's crushing it at the back, too. What a player she's been this year.
Yeah. Somebody that when you look at this squad right now, they're just playing incredibly well. When you look at I'm looking at FOTMob ratings right now. Dorson's 4th in the squad with a 7.7 FOTMob rating. Geraldine Reuteler's tops with a 7.96. After that is Laura Freigang at 7.9, and then Lisanne Greva at 7.6. So I do wonder about, is this a thing where you could put a start in for Lara Prashnikar? But it'll be interesting because you also have Dunst, you have, Saints, you have a lot of people in here that you can move in because the middle of the attack and some of the attacking is a Strawn's point, really, in particular. And we haven't even talked about Shiva yet. So the Frauen have two more matchups before we hit the new year. This is what happens when they don't have the Champions League. So have the 9th against RB Leipzig, and then Friday the 13th. It'll be good luck, I promise, because they'll be at Carlia and Siena. So I think we have covered a big amount and everything on here. I think we've also done it quite well in regular recording time also. So ways that you can find the show before we recommend people where to check us out at, go to hefpod.com, hefpod.com, where you can find all of our prior episodes in audio form. I don't know if they put the video links in yet. A map of where you can find all your Eintracht Frankfurt people on there. We should be having some more access and maybe some more on there stuff on there. Find us on YouTube at the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. I think it's Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, not Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. Hit the like and subscribe button. The more you do that, allows us more to be able to do some cool stuff online. And then Twitter,
Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast on YouTube.
Thank you, John. And I believe Hey Eintracht Frankfurt on Instagram. Shout out to Matt for the killer work on that. Also Twitter, HEF Pod. And John, we have a Blue Sky account.
Yes, we do. Let me go see which one it is now.
Yeah. Shout out to producer Nathan, as always, for the stunning work, but also saving my ass yesterday in the recap with that cool graphic, because I drew a blank on what the hell our Blue Sky is.
Yeah, it's hefpod.bsky.social. Hopefully we can get our own domain in there at some point, though.
So be on the lookout as we do some more cool stuff. And even for those that like Facebook, yes, we are on Facebook. So, John, where can folks find you online these days?
Yep. You can find me on Twitter still, although I'm posting less and less there at Ben_JBen, Instagram, JohnBen33, and Blue Sky at johnben.bsky.social.
Twitter, Instagram, Discord, GM Comats, and as of last Tuesday, your boy got a Blue Sky account, gmcomats.bsky.social. So, yeah, there's a lot of fun things going on right now. It's the holidays. It's festive. It's merry. We had plenty of reasons to be thankful this holiday weekend beforehand. May it continue. We will see as the Eintracht Frankfurt travel to the east of Germany to take on RB Leipzig, 2:45 Eastern Wednesday in DFB Pokal round of 16. Then host Augsburg Saturday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. It'll be a festive morning, joyous morning, I promise you that. And then Monday, watch Frauen at work on the Zone. Nothing wrong with that, unless your boss hates that, then shame on your boss. But we also want to give a shout out to Brian, as always, for keeping this operation going. There's the Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. Miles in Minnesota for the branding. Matt, we talked about with the Instagram. Producer Nathan for all the fine work. Chris, crushing it. We miss you. He'll be ready to go. When you see him, he will be a form stronger than you can possibly imagine. And yeah, for John in Delaware and Garret here in Michigan, thanks for checking out another episode of the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. Be on the lookout Wednesday night, Thursday morning for a recap the Adler after the Pokal. We'll talk about the Frauen in next week's Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast review. So until next time, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen auf der Tschüss und Fórza SGE.
I don't know what he did to get out of Dino's doghouse, but holy crap, he's been good. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la.